Oh man, is that what I think it is? Oh yes it is. Oh man. Let's see if I can pull it out of here. Oh yeah. Oh, dude, look at this beauty. Oh yeah. I can't wait to test this out on my friends. Let's go. I am Vaughn, the one and only Vaughn Swallow, here with Greenville Fencing Guild. And today, well actually yesterday, we got a new sword from MALLEUS Martialis. This is their Elector for their sport collection, I believe. Um, it was quite expensive. These are my first impressions of it, by the way. Um, it's heavy, very heavy, almost unwieldy. So I think it comes out just a hair below 3 pounds. So it's extremely strong in the parry and the bind. It's not the most maneuverable thing in the world, but it works out. Very chonky, very bulky, very durable. Um, the making construction of it looks beautiful. As it came in the package, I think it was pretty much in perfect condition. There was no rust. Well, I like the quilling design. The quillings are nice and long, so it's much easier. Like once you parry a sword, it'll fall straight into here, and there's no missing it. Um, there's tons of maneuverability for my hand room. We'll probably have a couple clips playing here in a second. But I'm using some light gloves right now. Plenty of protection if you were to use light gloves, but you can also squeeze in the Gabriels or the Sparring Glove Special. Most larger, like 5-finger gloves, you can stick in here. So tons of room for both your knuckles and your fingers. It's quite comfortable. The handle length is also quite comfortable. It's got a nice short handle. I think it rests the pommel quite comfortably on the wrist. Let's talk about the blade, right? I'm sure everyone's interested in the blade. It's got a nice bevel and a grind here. Makes it look like much more of a sword. You take a look at that. The blade itself is nice and rounded, so you don't have to worry about heavy chips or burrs in it. Next up, we can talk about the flex here. The flex is wonderful on this thing. All on the last bit of the sword here. I would compare it to pretty much every other HEMA sword you've seen. It feels good to get thrusted by. Well, not good, but good enough, right? The cut from the sword, though, ooh, this thing is beefy. It can deliver some damage if you're not careful. I can definitely say that for sure. I would be scared of someone delivering a full force cut towards me. It would hurt. So you definitely got to be careful when throwing cuts towards your friends, right? I can definitely feel whenever I throw a cut with the sword, almost midway, you have to pull back on it, or else it's really gonna hurt the other person. And I can see if you're not careful enough, you'll probably throw your shoulder out or something like that, because it's heavy. It's like using a long sword in one hand, right? And that's not comfortable at all. But with it being so heavy, it comes with its own pros and cons. One big pro would be parrying, right? This thing doesn't move whenever it gets hit, okay? And who doesn't love that, right? So if someone ever to throw a strike at me, I can just stop it, and they cannot do anything, and you just thrust forward. But there comes a con, right? Way less maneuverable. You can't do none of this flowy wrist stuff. You can't do none of that. Well, you could, but your forearm isn't gonna like it the next day. Let me tell you that much. So the lighter rapiers, as you'll see in some sparring footage we've gathered, has an advantage and a disadvantage against it, right? You're not going to move this blade out of the way, but it's not fast enough to defend itself. So if you were to be the first person to attack, right, and you're attacking your opponent, coming back from this extended position is extremely slow, and it will hurt you in the long run, for sure. So defense and retreating can be a bit of a hassle with it, but I'm hoping my forearms will grow to an enormous size with the weight of this sword, because it is just absolutely huge. But now that the first impression is here, I would like to talk about the construction of the sword. It is like 100% steel. This thing is not going to get hurt whatever you do to it. It's so beefy. So it came not put together completely, just the blade and everything else, pieces, right? And I remember picking up the pommel, and the pommel was so heavy, unbelievably so. This thing is 3 pounds, and 3 pounds is a lot for a single sword. Many people wouldn't think it is, but it is a lot. So it feels much for like a cavalry saber or a long sword in one hand, which is, I mean, personal preference. Okay, I think we're gonna end it there.
All right, let's try to use that as a saber.
Oh shit. You fucking hit this thing and I had no control.